Hello. Hi, there we are. Whew. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Whatever lovely time of day it is. I am just getting my it's not really a new setup, but new background sorted. Also just killing a few seconds while I wait for everyone to tune in this morning. I'm really excited about this talk. I mean, I guess I'm always excited about going live because I just love, I love doing these talks with you. And I just have some really great things to share with you this morning. So, bear with me for one moment here. There we go. Pulling up my notes. And yay. So tell me if you can hear me. If you can't hear me, I gotta restart this video. Tell me if you're here, where you're tuning in from. I love your comments. And yeah, I love to hear from you. Ay. Okay. Sorry about technical difficulties. Where are the comments now? Why can't I see them? Why can't I see your comments? I can see that I have them. Facebook has this new setup. I'm apologizing. Facebook has this new setup. There we go. Matthew. Hi, Matthew. I hope you can hear me all right. There's the comments. Okay. Facebook, stop changing things so I know what I'm doing when I go live. All right, we are here this morning to talk about mindset. Racing mindset, winning mindset, just mindset in general. I want to talk to you about being relaxed, staying relaxed, anxiety, stress, and also the mindset of a big topic that comes up a lot, which is winning or learning, or like, how do I deal with when I don't get the results that I wanted or I hoped for, right? So let's dive right in to to start with, I'm kind of going to start with post-race and then work my way to pre-race. So I know that's a little bit out of order. That's just sort of how my thoughts are coming from me this morning. So I'm sure you've heard before a lot of athletes use the term you win or you learn, right? And it's a really great, just language is huge for mindset, right? And rather than saying win or lose, actually, sure, we learn a lot of things. We learn some things when we win, but the real lessons come when we have those experiences of loss, right? So when we don't get the result we're hoping for is actually when we have the most opportunity to learn, to grow, to gain that experience that we need to get where we're trying to go. And just like there's no such thing as perfection, and a work in progress is perfection, learning is perfection. There is nothing better than that, right? So it's not about the result. It's about doing your best. And doing your best feels better than an easy win. Promise you that, right? So an easy win, like sometimes you do your best and you win, but sometimes you do your best and you don't win, and sometimes it's just an easy win. And I can guarantee you, I know from experience, it feels better to do your best than it does to just have an easy win. And that's the mindset that you want to go for, rather than being results oriented. Be, what is my result? Was that my best performance? Did I give my all? That is all that actually matters, is was that my best? Did I give my all? Because if you did, then that's the perfect result. There's nothing better, right? So, improvement in anything in life, and definitely in this sport, takes lots of time, lots of practice, and lots of experience. And those losses are the experience that you need to learn to get where you're trying to go. And that's the same with everything in life, right? So, for example, you could be in phenomenal shape. You could be a super talented athlete, right? We get a lot of these people that are new in the sport, and I'm speaking from my own experience here. A lot of people new in the sport, and you're like, I'm so fast, I'm so good, and yet you make a lot of silly errors in attempts to prove yourself, right? Who can relate to making silly errors in attempts to prove themselves? And therefore not actually getting the best, your best. So I love encouraging you to take notes. So if you want to take notes here, I have a series of questions for self-inquiry based on race results, based on whatever kind of results, whatever kind of experience you want to do some self-inquiry for. I'm a big fan of journaling, and if you're not a big fan of journaling, just call it an in-depth training log for your growth, right? So I also actually took really great notes for this chat. That's what you see me keep shifting my eyes over to. So I'm also I'll email you the link to my call notes if you private message or put your email in the comments. I'm going to do that for you. So, first question, did I do my best? If you did, then heck yeah, that's it, right? Like there's nothing better. And the second question is, what went right? Start with the positive. What went right? Right? Where did I see opportunities? What did I do really well? Whether you got the result you were hoping for or not, whether you did your best or not, even if the answer was, did I do my best, and the answer was no, what went right? What did I do right? What was an opportunity? What did go well, right? Give yourself those answers. And then, what went wrong? Third question, what went wrong? Where were there obstacles or challenges that were out of my control? Right? And then where were there challenges that were in my control? And it's really, really, really important to differentiate between what's in my control and what's out of my control. That's huge for our mindset because we spend so much energy in agonizing, in analyzing, in beating ourselves up over things that we cannot control, right? And so I don't mean like the person after the race who's making all the excuses, right? We all know that person, we've all been that person. This is not about making excuses because this list and these answers, these are actually to be done like way afterwards in a non-biased, non-judgmental state, and they're just for you. They're just for you, and maybe if you work closely with the coach, they're for you and your coach. But they're not for everyone, right? So what was in my control, what was out of my control? Very important to understand how very little of a lot of what goes wrong is actually in our control, and important to separate yourself from that and let that go because that's life. That's part of it, right? So, so honestly answer those questions non-emotionally, non-judgmentally, right? And I always love writing things down because they come out different than when they're just swirling around in your head and you actually catch the thought and you put it down. And you can look at it rather than just think about it. So, yeah, big fan of journaling. Keeping a training log, if you don't want to call it a journal. So self-reflection, self-inquiry, self-knowledge, from a non-judgmental place is really beneficial to our growth, whether that's in your sport, whether that's in your career, whether that's in your relationship, whether that's whatever. So 2 more questions that I have that are really helpful for you to go through when you're doing this analysis would be, what choices did I make that improved my result or my situation? And then give that some time. And then what choices did I make that didn't help? Right? So those answers are a great place to go when you are after an experience. So again, a little bit out of order here. So let's go. Let's transition. And if you have questions, I'm going to check the comments. Yeah, nice add in there, Paul. The law of control, totally. These are universal, right? And that's kind of one of my specialties, is taking these universal things, whether it's mindset, whether it's body mechanics, whatever it is, and how do I apply that to paddling? That's what I love doing. So let's go. And how do I enter into an event with the right mindset to win, right? AKA get my best result. Not a specific result, but what was my best in that day, for that day, with all of the things that were in and out of my control that happened, right? So the number 1 rule is, for life, is to relax. To relax, right? Easier said than done for a lot of us. However, can be practiced. There are tools that you can use to help you. So life is just easier when we are chilled out. It's fact. And you can argue with me on that, and that's okay. Because there are people that claim to work better under stress, and I just totally disagree. So you can have a deep desire for something and still not let it stress you out, right? So in my not so humble and opinion and experience, I believe that our best performances come when we are relaxed. So our heart rates, when we're relaxed, our heart rate's lower, our blood pressure is lower, we breathe more deeply and get more oxygen, and we make better decisions. And so much of life is the choices that I make in the present moment. So much of racing are the choices that I make in the present moment, right? So if I am stressed out, if I'm anxious, it's normally because I'm not in the present moment. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So all of those things, lower heart rate, blood pressure, more increased oxygen, making better decisions, that's why it's improving your performance, right? Those things improve your performance. So how do I relax, Seychelle? I'm really nervous before a race. I have anxiety in the days leading up to a race, right? That's probably why you're here. I get it. Because I've worked a lot with that in myself and in others, and it's really common, and there's some tools you can practice. And so here's kind of the way that I think about it. So first, notice what's happening. Notice how I feel anxious. Just notice that. Sometimes we're in this roller coaster and we're like so worked up, or we're so used to it, or we're so thinking about so many things we don't even realize, oh, wait a second, I am freaking out, I am anxious, I am nervous, I am whatever it is. I'm feeling these things in my body, and I'm just being like, oh, that's just my normal, right? But it doesn't have to be, right? So notice. First step, notice what's happening. Second step is to recognize your thoughts, right? So notice what's happening and then go, okay, what are my thoughts right now? Like, where's my head at? What am I thinking about? Right? Get clear on, okay, I feel anxious, and here's what's going on in my head that's making me feel that way. So the third is, again, take notes and or give me your email so I can send you these notes. The third is identify if those thoughts, if where your head is at is in the past, present, or future. Okay? So I can almost guarantee if you're anxious, if you're worked up, if you're stressed out, if you're not relaxed, your thoughts are in the past or the future. Not always, but almost always in the past or the future and not in the present moment. So notice those things. Notice, recognize, identify. And then, so let's talk about if you are in the past. If your head's in the past and you're reliving something that happened. Not always a bad thing. That can be helpful if it's used in a positive, productive way to learn. Right? We can learn from past. We can learn from mistakes. We can also drive ourselves crazy and beat ourselves up about it, right? So let's try to take that and turn it into a positive. So if you are in the past, what did you learn? What did I learn? How can I improve? What choice could I make differently if that happens again? Right? If you can come up with answers to those things or something similar, great. Then you can be grateful that it happened, even if it was a mistake. Be grateful for that lesson that you just learned, right? We win or we learn. So be grateful for what you learned and then let it go. And if you're beating yourself up about it, why? What does it change? Just sitting there and beating yourself up about it and feeling bad about it and feeling anxious about it and feeling worried about it and wondering what other people thought and like, what is that doing for you? And a lot of the times it's actually that we need to forgive ourselves because we made a mistake. And guess what? Everyone makes mistakes. That is part of the human experience. And it will always be part of the human experience. And everyone does it, right? So, the only way to move past that is to let it go. And so forgiveness is the magic ingredient here, right? You'll hear me use the words gratitude and forgiveness a lot. These are just like, they're magical, they're miracles, they are manifestation tools. So just like everything needs to be practiced, forgiveness for yourself needs to be practiced. We're so used to thinking, oh, I need to forgive others when they wrong me. We need to forgive ourselves so we can get over things and not let them stress us out, right? Yeah. So let's take a deep breath and actually do a little exercise right now. So think about something. Think about a mistake that you made. Think about something that you actually beat yourself up about, maybe fairly often, or it comes up a lot, maybe when you're getting ready to race or whatever it is that's been on your mind when I'm doing this call, and just think about one thing. And can you take a deep breath? Can you bring that into your mind? And can you actually go, oh, it was a mistake. I learned something from that. Okay, I'm going to forgive myself because everybody makes mistakes. And I'm going to ask to let that go. I'm going to exhale and I'm going to let that go. And so that needs to be probably practiced and repeated several times. Sometimes you're just like, great, oh, I feel so much better. Hopefully you feel a little bit better. And also take that little mini exercise that I just did and maybe actually when you're doing some reflection, some journaling later, you go a little bit deeper into forgiveness if there's things from your past that beat you up a lot, because that's what it needs to. That's one of the things it needs to let them go. So that's how you'll get back into a state of gratitude. Cool. So, back to if I notice how I feel, I feel anxious, I feel whatever, I recognize where's my head at, what are those thoughts, and then I identify, am I in my past, present, future. If I'm in the future, let's talk about if I'm in the future, okay? So, am I making up scenarios in my head that do not exist? If I'm in the future, that's usually what I'm doing, right? It doesn't exist, it's in the future. I can't predict the future. So if I'm really anxious about something playing that what if game, that, sometimes having the mind be in the future is beneficial, but most of the time it's not, right? Playing the what if game is usually not. So let's talk about the difference between being positive in the future and not so positive in the future. So I like to have a vision, right? Language is important for mindset. So the word vision is important. So I practice visualization, right? Daily, and especially in the days, weeks, months leading up to an event, depending on how important that and how much of a priority that event is for me. So visualization is consciously created and crafted and done. Sort of mindlessly dreaming is that anxiety of like, oh, what if this, I'm so nervous the thing's going to happen, right? So visualization practice is something that I practice with my one-on-one clients a lot, just FYI. I do work one-on-one with paddlers, and we do a lot of mindset coaching because the mindset piece is so connected and so important to not just what am I physically doing, but how am I mentally training myself, right? So if you're so visualization is conscious, and it's also focusing on how it feels, okay? And sort of just mindlessly dreaming is focusing on how it happens, right? So the difference between how it feels, how I want to feel, how I'm going to feel in that moment is different than how I want it to happen, okay? So, because I have to surrender to how it actually happens. I have to surrender the outcome. I only get to visualize how it's going to feel when I'm in that moment. Because how it actually happens, this is something that I say a lot with my one-on-one clients. We talk a lot about goals and goal setting. So we get to decide the what and the why when we're setting goals. What it is, why we want it. We do not get to decide how it happens and when it happens. Again, you can argue with me on that. That's what I believe and teach, okay? So we have to let go of how it happens. We have to let go when it happens. These things take time and experience, especially in a sport like paddling. You gotta mess it up over and over and over and over again until you get it right. That's life, okay? So how do I stop the mindless chatter, anxiety, right? You're like, okay, great, Seychelle, but I don't understand how I'm going to stop doing that, right? So notice it, acknowledge it, right? Like, what is happening? What are those thoughts? Acknowledge them. Don't just be like, go away, right? Acknowledge them and give thanks for them, right? Gratitude. Okay, thanks, got it, got the message. And then let it go, because it's not going to happen like that. And come back to the present moment, right? Present moment, relaxed, best performance. How do I so the question to ask yourself is, what's actually true right now, right? You're like getting ready for a race and you feel like, you're like, what's actually true right now? Well, one place I love to go is like, especially right now, like if you're at a race right now, you're like, it's 2021 and half the world can't even still leave their homes, and I get to go race right now, and I'm nervous about that. Like, I should be top of the world. Like, that's how cool is that opportunity, right? So maybe that's not exactly where your mind goes, but what's true right now, okay? So how do I come back to the present moment? Let me give you another magic tool. Is to get into your body, right? We've been talking about, oh, what's going on in my head, right? Like, how do I get into the present moment? I need to get into my body, all right? So the mind is amazing. It can time travel. It could be in the past, present, or future, or multiple places all at once. So cool. And sometimes really distracting and not useful when I need to be present in order to really have my best performance. So how do I get into the present moment? The body is always in the present moment. So I need to get back into my body, okay? How do I get back into my body? I use my breath. I take a deep, conscious breath, several of them, right? So actually do that with me right now. Let's take a really deep belly breath. Let's breathe really low into the body. In through the nose. You can go out through the nose or out through the mouth, nice and slow. Nice deep breath in. Feel the body, feel the belly. Exhale, soften. Feel things relax as you exhale slowly through the nose or through the mouth. Let's do one more. Maybe even close your eyes. That helps you get into your body. Deep, deep, deep breath. Exhale, let it go. Softly, slowly, relaxing. So the more conscious and aware I can be of feeling the breath, feeling the body expand as I breathe in and relax as I breathe out, the more that I can feel the different areas of my body filling with breath, whether I'm into my belly, whether I'm expanding my rib cage, am I breathing into my chest, where's the air leaving my body, right? I'm in my body. And when I'm in my body, I'm in the present moment, right? So again, that takes practice, and it's something you can do anytime, anywhere. I love the practice of 10 deep breaths, 10 deep breaths. It's so transformative. If I can stop and take 10 deep breaths, I can radically change my my energy, my anxiety level, especially that slow exhale through the mouth like a straw. That's really great for me for releasing anxiety. I talked a lot about the breath in a couple other talk stories that I did several weeks ago at this point, but you can find them on the SIC Maui Facebook page and YouTube page. Just look up SIC Maui Talk Stories, Seychelles, breathing, and there's a couple of them that will come up. So quick recap. In order to have our best performance, to make the best decisions and to see opportunities, right? How do I get my best result? Because that is the win. That is all there is what's my best, not the best. I need to be relaxed. How do I stay relaxed? I stay in the present moment. And if you're thinking about paddling, it can be as simple as getting into your breath. It can be as simple as focusing on every single stroke. Like every stroke, just every stroke. I love to say enjoy every stroke. And that'll be your best race ever. So that's what I have for you today. I didn't see a lot of comments, but if you have comments, if you have questions, if you want the notes for today, DM or comment me your email and I will share them with you. If you have questions about working with me as a coach, or just questions in general, I love your questions. I love helping. I love connecting. I love this community. So reach out, SeychellesSup.com, Seychelles Sup on Facebook, Seychelles Sup on Instagram. And thanks so much to SIC for having us today, for having this platform. Thank you all for being here. And I think I'm going to be Seychelles signing off. Bye.